"You've got a hoodie just like that?" I said, pointing up toward the balcony. I was standing on the sidewalk below our apartment building, coffee in hand, looking up at our third-floor unit. There he was, our neighbor from 3B, sipping from a mug, relaxed, like he belonged there. But it wasn't the coffee that stopped me cold. It was the gray hoodie. My hoodie. Faded sleeves, frayed cuffs, a tiny oil stain near the hem from when I fixed the old car. No one else had that hoodie. It wasn't just similar, it was mine. My heart didn't race. Not at first. It kind of recoiled, like it didn't want to believe what it saw. I looked again, and that's when he turned. He didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just turned, saw me, and went back inside. Like I was the one intruding. I didn't go up. I didn't charge the stairs, slam the door open, and demand an answer. That's not who I am. It's never been who I am. Instead, I sat on the bench near the mailbox and tried to piece together the math of trust. And something didn't add up. We moved into that apartment 2 years ago, my wife and I, cozy third-floor unit, corner balcony that caught the sunrise just right. Julia loved it instantly. She said the building had a soul, whatever that meant. I was just relieved it had good plumbing. The neighbor in 3B, Nate, moved in about 6 months after us. Quiet guy. Lanky, soft-voiced, always carrying something. Groceries, guitars, boxes of books. He was the kind of man who made you feel calm just by talking to you. Julia said he was inoffensive, which I always thought was a weird compliment. At first, I didn't think twice about him. We all exchanged polite nods in the hallway. The kind of neighborly relationship built on casual smiles and shared walls. But over time, something started to shift. It started with how often I saw him. I'd come home from work, and there he'd be, leaning on the railing of our balcony, drinking coffee with Julia. She said he was just borrowing her Wi-Fi, that his apartment had some dead zones. No big deal. Don't be weird, she laughed when I asked about it. And I believed her. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous husband who saw a threat in every man with decent cheekbones and a decent smile. I told myself to trust her. After all, Julia and I had been together for 9 years. Married for 5. We'd made it through family deaths, job losses, infertility, and one terrifying car accident that nearly stole her from me. If we could survive all that, surely we could survive a friendly neighbor, right? But then the hoodie happened. I didn't bring it up that night. I watched her instead. She was in the kitchen, humming along to some indie playlist she always played when she cooked. Pasta boiling, wine half poured, barefoot in the old Cornell sweatshirt she always claimed was more yours than mine, but I wear it better. And it hit me, this was our life. Familiar. Safe. Sacred. Even. But that safety started to feel off. Like walking into your childhood bedroom and realizing someone moved the furniture an inch to the left. Everything looked normal, but nothing felt right. "Hey," I said casually, sliding into the bar stool at the counter. "Did you lend out one of my hoodies?" She looked up, blinked like I'd just asked her to recite the quadratic formula. "Huh. My gray one. The old one with the oil stain." She paused, barely noticeable, but it was there. That half-second of recalibration, like she had to remember her next line in a play. "Oh," she said. "That one's probably in the laundry. You leave your stuff everywhere." She smiled. That disarming smile she used when she wanted to end a conversation before it started. But I didn't smile back. I just nodded. Right. Must be laundry. We ate dinner in relative quiet, and I watched her every move. Not like a detective, not like a man looking for a smoking gun. More like a husband who suddenly wasn't sure how much of the last 5 years was real. Over the next week, I took quiet mental notes. Nothing dramatic. Just small observations. Nate's shoes were often parked outside our door. His name popped up in Julia's texts more than I remembered. Nothing overt. Just a lot of LOLs and ha. S and you're such a dork. S. Friendly, harmless banter. Except that it wasn't harmless anymore. I found myself scrolling through old photos, zooming in on the background of shots she'd posted. One from the balcony. There was Nate's guitar in the corner. Another from brunch. There was a second mug. Not mine. His. I felt like I was losing my grip on a memory while still living in it. And then came the night I couldn't ignore. It was around 11 p.m. I'd gotten up to grab water. The apartment was dark, quiet, except for the soft buzz of her phone lighting up on the nightstand. I glanced at it. A text from Nate. "Can't sleep. You up?" My throat tightened. It felt like swallowing glass. Julia didn't stir. I stared at the screen, waiting, hoping she wouldn't respond, hoping this could all still be some weird misunderstanding. Then her fingers moved in the dark, instinctively. She picked up the phone, glanced at it, smiled softly, and typed back. Just got up. Meet you in 5? My wife. My bed. Our room. And she was planning to meet him. At midnight. She slid out of bed, careful not to wake me, grabbed a hoodie, my hoodie, and slipped out the door like she'd done it before. I didn't follow. I couldn't. I lay there, wide-eyed, staring at the ceiling, as the crack in my world became a canyon. And that's when it hit me. She hadn't just given away my hoodie. She'd given away the home I thought we built. To a man who wasn't me. The next morning, she was already back in bed when I opened my eyes. Hair still damp from a shower. Her breathing slow, steady, almost too even, like someone pretending to sleep. I lay there, watching the ceiling, listening to the quiet hum of a lie settling into the sheets between us. She didn't know I'd seen the text. She didn't know I'd watched her slip out in my hoodie and disappear down the stairwell. She didn't know I'd waited, eyes open, counting the minutes. 13. That's how long she was gone. 13 minutes. Not long enough for a deep conversation. Not short enough to dismiss. And that's when the questions started to creep in. Had it already happened? Or was I just now watching the beginning of it? I didn't confront her. Not that day. I played my part, made coffee, kissed her cheek, asked about her plans like nothing inside me was burning. She smiled back with sleepy eyes and asked if I wanted French toast. My chest tightened. The way she said it, so casual, so normal, like the night before hadn't shattered something. Or maybe it had, and she was just used to stepping over the pieces. I told her I'd eat out. I spent the next week pretending to be too busy to talk, pretending to be fine, pretending not to notice the second toothbrush in the guest bathroom that I didn't buy, pretending not to see her phone angled just enough to keep the screen hidden from view. It's a strange kind of grief, this limbo. You're not mourning a death. You're mourning a version of your life that's still technically breathing. I started sleeping on the couch, claimed back pain. She didn't argue. I stopped kissing her goodnight. She didn't flinch. Once, I watched her standing on the balcony, laughing at something on her phone. That laugh. God, I used to live for that laugh. But hearing it now felt like someone else's ringtone going off in my pocket. That was the night I decided to dig deeper. She was out late again. Team dinner, she said, like it was an ordinary Tuesday. I logged into her laptop. I didn't feel guilty. Not anymore. What I found wasn't explosive. No sexts. No love notes. Just long threads with Nate. Jokes. Memes. Links to articles. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. It was the kind of intimacy that's harder to name and even harder to prove. One message stuck with me. Nate, I love how easy it is with you. Everything just makes sense. And her reply, hours later, but still glowing on the screen. Julia, I feel that too. Like, I can breathe when I'm with you. That was it. She never said she loved him. She never mentioned me. But she didn't have to. You know when someone has emotionally packed their bags. You feel the space they've cleared inside themselves. The emptiness they leave behind isn't quiet, it echoes. I started making a plan. Not out of revenge. I didn't want to ruin her. I just didn't want to be the man who waited around to be discarded. I made copies of the messages. Took inventory of everything in the apartment that was mine, emotionally, financially. Opened a new account. Transferred my direct deposit. Found a month-to-month rental across town. Small, barely furnished. But it would do. The last piece was the hardest. One evening, I asked her to sit with me. She looked surprised, even a little nervous, like a student being called to the front of the class unprepared. I think something's changed, I said gently. She blinked. What do you mean? I swallowed hard. Between us. She hesitated, then gave the kind of sigh that isn't heavy, it's light. Like letting go. Yeah, she said. I think so too. No denial. No defense. Just that. We sat there for a long time. The space between us thick with everything unsaid. I asked if there was someone else. She didn't answer directly. Just said, I didn't plan it. I swear I didn't. She didn't deny it. And that silence was louder than anything she could have said. 2 nights later, I left. No grand confrontation. No suitcases thrown on the lawn. Just a note on the counter, my keys beside it. I saw him wearing my hoodie. That was all I needed. I expected leaving to feel like an explosion. Instead, it was a quiet door click. A hallway walk. The ding of the elevator. My new apartment was already set up, barely, a mattress on the floor, a desk, a kettle, a lamp. Everything sterile, sparse, but honest. That night, I slept without the weight of pretending. And the next morning, I didn't check my phone. Not once. No text from her. No missed calls. Just silence. She didn't chase me. She didn't ask me to come back. She didn't even ask why. And somehow, that hurt more than anything else could have. 3 weeks passed before I saw her again. I'd stopped by the old apartment to grab some mail I'd forgotten to forward. Her car was there. So was his. I hesitated at the door. It was still technically mine, still half paid for with the money I'd earned, the sacrifices I'd made. But the air felt different. Like I no longer had a key to whatever life was unfolding inside. I knocked. She opened it. And behind her, in the hallway, there he was. Nate, holding a grocery bag, laughing at something she said before she saw me. She froze. He stopped laughing. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt small. Not humiliated, not enraged, just unnecessary. Like I'd walked into the wrong house by mistake. "I'm just here for the mail," I said. Calm. Even. I grabbed the small stack of envelopes from the counter, avoiding eye contact. Before I turned to leave, I looked at Nate. He was wearing my hoodie again. The one I used to wear on long drives with her. The one she used to steal and sleep in on cold nights. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. That hoodie, my hoodie, fit him better now. Not because it looked better on him, but because it belonged to her life now. Not mine. Later that night, I found myself scrolling through old photos again. One from last fall. Us on the balcony, her leaning into me, wearing that very hoodie, coffee mug in hand. My caption had read, "Home, in every sense." I deleted it. Not out of spite, but because it wasn't true anymore. Home isn't a person. It isn't a hoodie. It isn't even a memory. It's whatever life you build when no one's lying to you. A month passed. Then another. Then came a letter. Handwritten. From her. I unfolded it slowly. Her handwriting was still the same. Looped, slanted, confident. The way she wrote when she was certain of something. I never meant to fall for him. I didn't even know I was falling out of love with you. I guess I confused comfort with forever. There was no begging. No apology, really. Just acknowledgement. You gave me a life I didn't know how to appreciate until I saw it from the outside. I think part of me always assumed you'd stay, no matter what. Seeing you leave made me realize I was wrong. I read the letter twice. Then once more. Then I burned it in the sink. Not because I hated her, but because I needed the space. Some scars heal clean. Some stay tender. There are still mornings I reach for a mug, and remember she used to leave mine filled with coffee on the bathroom counter while I shaved. There are still songs that stop me mid-step in the grocery store. But I'm okay now. Not perfect. Not invincible. Just okay. Last week, I walked by our old building again. The balcony was empty. But a hoodie, his, I'm guessing, hung over the railing. And I smiled. Because that chapter's closed. And I'm still here, still breathing, building something new. This time from the truth up.